In this lesson, we're going to combine two factoring methods to completely factor a trinomial. Okay, so I'd like you to look at this example right here. It is a trinomial and is quadratic. In our previous video, we only factored trinomials where the leading coefficient is 1. So what I want you to do first is, if it's possible, always check to see if there is a greatest common factor you can pull out. It'll make your life so much easier. So I look and I observe that 3 goes into 3, 15, and 12. So I'm going to begin by dividing each term by 3 to get a remaining trinomial of x squared minus 5x plus 4. Previously we stopped here, but now if you look at this remaining trinomial, it actually can break down into 2 more factors. For trinomials, I've taught you to attempt to factor it using the tic-tac-toe method. So this is where you put your first term, your last term is next, the positive 4, and your checking term is the middle term. Factors of x squared would be x times x. Factors of 4 would be 1 times 4 or 2 times 2, but we have to consider the sign. Because this is positive, the only way I'm going to get a positive is a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. Same sign, I look here, this tells me they're both going to need to be negative. So I'm going to do a negative and a negative. I'm going to begin by trying 2 and 2. I multiply across, that's negative 2x, and negative 2x adds to negative 4x. That doesn't work. So I'm going to back up, erase this, and go with 1 and 4. Multiplying up does give me positive 4, across gives me negative 1x and negative 4x, and yes, that adds to negative 5x. So my one factor is x minus 4. My other is x minus 1. Now what you have to be very careful with is make sure you bring down this 3. Because what I'm saying to you is this is in factored form. If I would multiply this all back together, I would get what I started with. All right, here's another example. 5x squared minus 20. Begin by factoring out your greatest common factor, which is 5. Going to divide each term in the binomial by 5 to get x squared minus 4. Now it is a binomial, but I'm going to attempt to factor this using tic-tac-toe. I notice I'm missing my middle term. It's in order. So I'm going to do x times x. Factors of negative 4, one has to be positive and the other negative, and I'm going to try 2 times 2. So this would be 2x, and negative 2x does add to 0. So this one factor is x minus 2, and the other is x plus 2. Don't forget to bring down your 5 for your final answer. Again, if I would multiply this all back together, I get what I started with. In this one, you want to make sure, tried to teach you, to always, of course, make sure that it's in standard form. The largest degree is first. I have a leading coefficient that's negative. I hate that. Only thing I hate. So I factor out at least a negative leading coefficient, and I have an x that's in both places. So negative 1x is my greatest common factor. I'm going to divide by each by negative 1x. That would give me x squared minus 49. Okay. Potentially, this binomial may factor further, and I'm just going to put negative x since that's the same as negative 1x. So off on the side, again, quickly do your tic-tac-toe. To factor your trinomial, this would be x times x, factors of 49. One has to be positive and negative, and since I need it to add to 0, trick would be take the square root of 49, it's 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. 7x, negative 7x adds to 0. So one is x plus 7 and the other is x minus 7. I will tell you, if you feel like I'm going way too fast for you to understand this factoring method with tic-tac-toe, I encourage you to go back to the previous video to refresh yourself. In this third example, why don't you pause and try it on your own. Hopefully you recognize that 2x squared is the greatest common factor, produces x squared minus 9x plus 20. Then you should have done tic-tac-toe. To get x times x, Factors of 20, there's a lot of them. I tried -4 and -5 and had success. This factors into x minus 4 and x minus 5. Again, make sure you have all your factors.